Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the recap show. It's Brett and Terry.
Something like that. Anyway, it was an exciting night last night, over the weekend, watching the conference championship games. But we're going to start with coaching news.
We got some coaching news shortly after we did our episode last week. Gus Malzahn was fired, and they haven't hired a coach yet. The rumors come out, and this is kind of crazy. The rumors come out, and I don't know if this is true, but I'm just going to go with what I was kind of reading. This was posted on our Facebook group, but on Twitter, some people coming out saying that Kevin Steele, the defensive coordinator, and Rodney Gardner, who I think is the defensive line coach, had for a couple of years been going behind Malzahn's back. They've got a couple of high-profile boosters at Auburn and some allies in the administration going behind Malzahn's back, trying to get rid of Malzahn and then putting them in. So that kind of went down, and then there's this whole hashtag Stop Steele, because Auburn fans don't think Steele's good enough for them. So now we don't know what's going on with the Auburn situation. It looks like maybe they're backtracking on Steele, maybe trying to go another route. Very reminiscent of Tennessee's search 3 years ago, where they had hired Greg Schiano, the contract was done. Clay Travis, who I know both of us are fairly decent fans of, follow him on Twitter at least. Clay Travis doesn't think Greg Schiano is good enough for Tennessee. He starts his grassroots Twitter campaign to get rid of Schiano, and lo and behold, they rescind the offer to Schiano. They go through like 6 or 7 more choices before hiring Jeremy Pruitt. And now, Jeremy Pruitt is likely to get fired today or tomorrow or this week, which I think is wrong because this is his 3rd season. Right. You fire him now, Fulmer's probably going to get canned for it. Right. Fire him now, you're just going to put the program back even further. But whatever. It is what it is.
I don't think Tennessee's a bad program. I think Jeremy Pruitt's done a bad job. I think he relied on his quarterback a little too long this season.
He did. He's kind of, people have been saying, Kirby Smart doesn't know how to manage quarterbacks. What the hell's Jeremy Pruitt doing? Yeah. Putting in Garen Connell, then putting in, 15, Stroud or something, putting in Harrison Bailey, then yanking Bailey. It's like, make a choice. They suck this year. Yeah. Put in one of the young guys for the future and let it ride. Apparently, Jared Garantano's dad's pissed off and has just handed the University of Tennessee Compliance Department a bunch of text messages from improper benefits. So now it looks like they're under investigation from the NCAA. So a lot of news going on behind the scenes, other than the playoffs and the championship weekend. A lot of stuff to pay attention to.
We'll do a bowl show after it gets announced at 2:30.
Yeah. So, but that's just some crazy coaching stuff. I always think the coaching carousel is pretty fun.
It is. It always is. All right. Well, let's get started with the game situation. Right. Friday night, Oregon knocked off an undefeated USC team. I know you've watched this game.
I watched this game. I thought it was a little ridiculous, and Oregon got to play in it. They didn't win the Pac-12 North. Washington did. Washington had COVID issues, but Oregon knew that if Washington can't play, they're in. So they prepared for 2 weeks for USC. USC basically prepared for Washington and realized, oh crap, we're not playing them, we're going to prepare for Oregon. I won money on this game. I picked Oregon to flat out beat them. And I kind of knew it was coming. That guy died we've been talking about all season. He had a real nice game. So I won some money on this one. Keaton Slovis looked like complete dog crap. USC just basically looked like the team they looked like all season long in the first quarter. When they've been coming back all season long, they basically played the entire game. It looked like they'd been the first quarter of the rest of the season. So
hot garbage.
Yes.
Well, the Purdue, Indiana was canceled. Vanderbilt, Georgia was canceled. Last night, 8 o'clock, SEC title game, Alabama in a pretty exciting game.
Very exciting game.
Knocks off Florida 52-46. This was a showcase of quarterbacks. Najee Harris going off. A lot of things were taking place in this game. It was a big hit. Was it into the second quarter?
First quarter, John Mechie, Mac Jones threw a pick. Trey Dean for Florida picks it off on a carom. It was tipped by somebody. Forrestall, the tight end, caught it. Right. It kind of got ripped away from him. And Dean's running, and Mechie, I was surprised he threw a flag because he blindsided the shit out of him. Ball pops out. Devonta Smith recovers it. Trey Dean's down, writhing in pain for like 15 minutes, and we were drinking quite heavily. I didn't really see that he came back in the game.
No.
If he did, I didn't notice. So. But great game. Mac Jones went bananas, 400 plus yards, which I think was a SEC championship record. Najee Harris with 5 touchdowns, which is SEC championship record. It was throw and catch. No DBs could cover anybody in the opposing team. But look at the scores. First quarter, Alabama 14, Florida 10. Second quarter, Alabama 21, Florida 7. Third quarter, Alabama 0, Florida 14. Fourth quarter, Alabama 17, Florida 15. Hell of a game.
Yes.
Just when you thought Bama was kind of pulling away, it was like they were scoring touchdowns when Florida was trying to kick field goals. Florida make a play and come right back. Hell of a game. A lot of fun. I tell you what, other than last year, you go back to the last 6 or 7 SEC championships, those SEC championship games have been better games, more exciting games than the damn playoff game. Playoffs have been blowout for the most part. Those SEC championship games have been pretty damn good games. Playoff semifinals, basically, is what it is.
Right. So that concludes Alabama and Florida. Clemson, Notre Dame. Clemson did what we expected them to do. They basically handed Notre Dame an ass whipping of historic proportions, 34-10. Should have been worse than that.
I won a little bit of money in this game as well. I won money on 3 of these games yesterday, and then I lost it all on the Alabama game because I thought Alabama was going to beat me by 30 points, and I lost it all. But I won a little bit of money in this game. Like you said, kind of expected Clemson to roll them like this. I've been dogging on Notre Dame all season long, saying that they're not as good as their ranking, but they really are. I played bad yesterday. We'll talk about them more in the show, but I mean, it was a good game for Clemson.
Right. And the last game, there's a few more of
It was a Big 12.
Big 12 championship game. Northwestern, Ohio State. Ohio State knocks off Northwestern in a really disappointing performance by Ohio State. Northwestern had the lead going into the half, and Ohio State came out and put some points on the board in the second half, but they look vulnerable. They don't look like they're a very good team.
But they had 22 guys out. Starting linebacker Browning was out. Olive, the wide receiver, was out. Justin Fields looked like crap. The 2 biggest games of the year, he's looked like crap throwing the football. He was pressured a lot all night. They got to him. They didn't sack him too many times because he's so big it's hard to get him. But they got to him. Northwestern moved the football. There was a point in this game, it was the third quarter, I believe, where Northwestern's in the red zone going for the knockout punch, which I thought would have been the knockout punch. And he threw a pick in the red zone. After Fields does it at the end of the first half, throws a pick in the red zone. And when the Northwestern kid did it, you kind of got the sense, okay, Ohio State's going to get their shit together and roll them. And they really didn't, although Trey Sermon ran for 300 yards and a couple scores. That was the difference. They just ran the ball and pummeled them. But Northwestern was able to defend them for a half, really shut them down, and they moved the ball.
But I mean, Ohio State didn't just set the world on fire.
No, they didn't. I mean, the quarterback was I forget his name for Northwestern. Played lights out the first half. Lights out. Best game of his career. Was making crazy throws. Second half, dude turns the ball over 3 times. You can't. If you're an underdog, you can't be doing that.
That's right. Texas A&M knocks over Tennessee, 34-13. A&M was playing for an opportunity to get into the playoffs. Of course, everybody who needed to win yesterday won. And Notre Dame and Ohio State sneak in with number 3 and number 4 seeds in the playoff. And Texas A&M.
A&M, that's a pretty big win, 34-13. I said last week they didn't beat Auburn by enough, and I don't think they beat Tennessee by enough. If you beat both of those teams by, 25, 30 plus. You might get a nod, but like you said, they needed somebody to lose yesterday, and it didn't happen.
They needed Clemson to lose and needed Ohio State to lose, and neither one of those happened, so nobody was going to get in. Because Clemson, if they won, and Alabama, if they won, were not getting in. As for the Big 12, Oklahoma 27, Iowa State 21. Iowa State had some chances to get in to win this game, and they just They
pissed it away at the end. They came back. It was 24-7 at halftime. Iowa State, give them credit, they come back. They've got the ball with about a minute left to go, and they're in plus territory, and Purdy throws a pick. A horrible throw, going in for the game-winning touchdown in the Big 12. I won money in this game. This was the third game I won money on. Like I said, I lost it all fucking Alabama. But you kind of knew Oklahoma was going to win this game. It was kind of one of those coming into it, and they were ranked number 10, and now they're ranked number 6. They jumped 4 spots. But they're playing real well. You know, they look good.
Right. Cincinnati continues their undefeated season. They're 9-0, but barely squeaking by a Tulsa team. They played pretty tough. 27-24 was the final score. I didn't see this game, but Cincinnati is poised to get a BCS bowl.
New Year's Six Bowl.
New Year's Six Bowl.
I didn't watch a whole lot of this game, just a little bit of it. But one thing that they just talked about on ESPN on the playoff selection show about Cincinnati, you know, Joey Galloway is bullish on Cincinnati, saying that they're as good as Texas A&M, they're as good as Oklahoma, and they would beat Texas A&M and beat Oklahoma if they played in a neutral field. I'm looking at the guys, the offensive line, the defensive line. Yeah, Cincinnati's a good team.
Yeah.
They don't have the dudes up front that some of these schools have.
They're going to get blown off the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think the prediction is they're going to play Georgia in the Peach Bowl. I think Cincinnati's going to win that game because half of Georgia's defense has already opted out for NFL combine training. So that's where I think they'll get them, unless Georgia just controls the football and pounds it down their throat the whole day. I don't know. But I would put my money on Cincinnati to win that game, but I don't think they're a playoff team.
No, definitely not. And we get down to the Mountain West Championship. San Jose State knocks off a decent Boise State team, 34-20. That concludes our championship week.
Yeah, clap up to San Jose State, undefeated season.
Absolutely.
One of the coolest logos in all of college football, in my opinion. I had this game on in another room, and I kept looking, and then my kid found the remote and changed the channel to something else. I didn't get to see all of it. Boise State was getting beat pretty handily at the time. The last I was able to watch it. So, but yeah, you know, it was a good championship weekend. We got, you know, it was a good weekend of football. You know, the season's over.
Chip Kelly gets his way. I don't know if we mentioned it earlier. They moved the Rose Bowl to
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly. I'll call him Chip Kelly. Brian Kelly. No, he's a Kelly. Anyway, so he gets his way. They're moving the Rose Bowl to Arlington instead of the Cotton Bowl. So it's basically going to be de facto.
Yeah, and they're doing it basically because, you know, they'll allow a lot more fans. I think it's like 16,000 fans. I think it is. And when they won't allow any fans in Pasadena, which, hey, I'm cool with it. I know people on Twitter were like, oh, it's a farce. They're saying COVID related, but the numbers in, you know, wherever the Cotton Bowl was it? Arlington?
They're going to get more people in.
Yeah, the numbers, COVID numbers in Arlington are higher than they are in whatever county, LA County that is, or whatever, Pasadena. But it's not about that. It's really about the money and getting the amount of people in there, and I'm all for it.
Right.
This is not, you know, let's not pretend this is the first time the Rose Bowl has been pulling some stuff. They've been asked multiple times over the last few years to change the start time so the Sugar Bowl doesn't start at 9 o'clock at night Eastern time.
Right.
They won't change the start time. They think that they're the elitist of the elite. You know, it's about time the Rose Bowl got put in their place, in my opinion. They don't run college football. You know, they've got a great tradition, and that's where they think they can run everything, and they can't. So piss on them. I hate the Rose Bowl.
All right. Well, we'll be back at you here in maybe an hour or so, and we'll set the stage for the bowl season.
Yeah, well, do you want to talk about the playoffs, the rankings?
We can. Let's go ahead.
Let's do playoff rankings.
Okay.
Because I want to kind of get this off my chest.
Okay.
All right, so playoff rankings: Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Ohio State 3, Notre Dame 4. First time a conference championship game loser still makes it in. Got blown off the field by Clemson, but the committee, you know, they looked at the body of work through the season. They went 10-0 or whatever it was. I think it was 10-0. They put them in at number 4. A&M, I didn't think they were one of the 4 best teams anyway. They get left out at 5. You know, their biggest win ended up losing 3 games on the season, which would be Florida. They really didn't beat anybody else. They lost to 28 to Alabama. And I don't really think the committee wanted to put that matchup again.
Right.
So I get that. Ohio State, in my opinion, is, when they're healthy, one of the 4 best teams. My pride, and they're going against Clemson, and they're probably going to get rolled against Clemson. But I have a huge issue with Ohio State getting in. 6 games is not enough. And if you're wondering why, do I feel 6 games not enough? Look what happened last week, Florida LSU. LSU with a boatload of opt-outs, nothing to play for. Florida with everything to play for, a trip to the playoffs is on the line, and they lose to LSU in a crazy game. How do you know that's not going to happen in the 4 extra games Ohio State would have played? They've shown over the years, losing to Purdue, losing to Iowa, they've shown that they are capable of getting beat.
They give up a game to a team.
They do, and again, don't mean to shit on Ohio State. I believe they're one of the 4 best teams.
Right.
I've said it on the show many times. I shit on the Big Ten all the time because it's a freaking joke. We'll get to more of that in a second.
Right.
But Ohio State's a great football team.
Right.
But they have lost some games. And I kind of feel that the Ohio State and Clemson are very similar. They don't really play anybody that good throughout the whole season.
Right.
So when you do lose a game, it really knocks them out. That's happened to them twice. It's knocked them out for losing games they shouldn't lose to. They only played 6 games. The Big Ten changed the rules that they put in place to let Ohio State didn't have the amount of games needed to go to the conference championship. They changed the rules to let Ohio State go to the conference championship. They go, they struggle, they don't look good winning. Well, then today they just changed the COVID rules because they got 22 guys out due to COVID. The rule in the Big Ten is you miss 21 days at minimum. They just changed it to 10, so all those guys will be able to play against Clemson. I have a big issue with changing the rules to benefit one team. I get it, they need the money. It's a COVID year. The Big Ten is hemorrhaging cash. They can't get fans in the stands to get that money back. The TV revenue is there, but that's not going to last.
Right.
They need a team in the playoffs, but I think it's complete crap that Ohio State's in. But, the playoff committee has set a precedent for the most deserving team. They've also set precedents for the 4 best. If the goal is to get the 4 best teams in the playoff, then they succeeded. But I just kind of have a hard time believing that they deserve it. And when you look at 3 of the other coaches, 2 of the coaches that are in the playoffs and 1 A&M that didn't make it, when they've got a problem saying, this crazy COVID year, we got our team ready to play 10 games. They only got their team ready to play 6. That's not fair. When other coaches start saying it that way, I kind of, feel for them.
Yeah.
Here's another stat. The SEC and the ACC and the Big 12, they kind of have built-in bye weeks, but the Big 10 didn't. They had to play every single week for 8 weeks. Right. Ohio State played on back-to-back Saturdays 1 time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I actually saw that stat this morning.
Yeah, it's a little squirrely, and I know the Ohio State fans are going to bitch and moan, and they're going to get their feelings hurt thinking that their team is being criticized. So then they're going to be like, well, your team's not even in the playoffs. That has nothing to do with it. And no one's trying to hurt anybody's feelings by having an opinion and criticizing a team. Notre Dame's getting criticized right now, but whatever.
It comes right down to the point of every other major sport, whether it be NFL, MLB, they expanded the playoffs. They altered their playoffs this season as an opportunity to change things up. College football didn't do that.
Nope.
Credit to them for getting the games in, most of the games in, but they made a mistake in not taking this opportunity to change things and make it more opportunistic for a lot more teams in the playoff scenarios. You have 6 New Year's Bowl games. Why don't you utilize those? Add at least 8 teams into this playoff and make it, give another 4 teams an opportunity to have a chance at the dance. Today,
Cincinnati and Coastal Carolina and members of the athletic departments on some of the Group of 5 conferences are extremely upset right now, saying, what do we have to do to get in? It doesn't matter what we do, you're never going to let us in. This was a great opportunity for the college football playoff to expand. 1 time only. Let Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati in. Let them get steamrolled in the first round, and then next year say we're going back to 4. Yeah. We let in those Group of 5s, and they got rocked. So it doesn't really matter.
You've got to take the opportunities when you give them. This season was a primo opportunity to do some unique things, and they didn't take advantage. I'm just glad we got a season.
I tell you, I can't. You can be thankful for what you get.
I guess so.
That's my soapbox on the playoffs in Ohio State. Other than that, I think they got it right. Notre Dame's a damn good team. I've got a hard time believing A&M and Oklahoma would beat them. The team, Oklahoma, is, you know, they lost 2 early season games and they're way better now than they were at the beginning of the season. That doesn't mean they deserve to get in.
Right.
And they, you know, obviously they didn't. But that's a team I would actually look at putting in ahead of A&M because I think Oklahoma's a better team than A&M is. So, but I think overall, the 4 best teams did get in, deserving or not. They got in. Opening lines at Clemson, Ohio State. I think Clemson's a 10.5-point favorite. Alabama's a 20.5-point favorite versus Notre Dame. So you're going to get the 4 best teams in. One of your semifinals has a 3-touchdown spread to it. It is what it is. It's college football.
That's it.
So
let's conclude this episode of our weekly report. We'll be back here sometime this afternoon with a new episode concerning the bowl situation.
As soon as they get announced in about
30 minutes.
30, 40 minutes. Yep.
No,
All right. See you guys.
that'll be good.